About 50 miles north of the Big Apple, there is this small-ass rocky island named Bannerman. On it stands what appears to be an unfinished Scottish castle. I'm pretty sure it's the remains of an empire built by one single man and his dog. The castle was constructed by some dude named Frank Bannerman, who was born somewhere in Scotland in 1851 and migrated to the United States at the age of 3. In 1865, at the age of 14, Francis founded his own company selling military surplus goods. The business, called Bannerman's, went from selling junk scrap metal and munitions to full ships that Francis purchased at Navy auctions. Back in the day, Bannerman bought 90% of the US Army surplus after the Spanish-American War, and it became necessary to find a secure place to store their large quantity of very volatile black powder. When Bannerman bought the island in 19-something, he set about designing his arsenal and storehouse in the style of the baronial castles he had seen during trips to Scotland. During the next 17 years, Frank Bannerman personally designed the island's buildings. He had so much inventory that during World War I, he sold cannons, uniforms and blankets to the US government. Construction of the castle persisted through the war, and it still wasn't quite finished when Bannerman died in 1917. I mean 1918. The island has experienced a turbulent history since then. Just a couple years later, 200 pounds of shells and powder exploded, destroying a portion of the complex. Nevertheless, the family continued to use the residence through the 1930s. In the summer of 1969, a devastating fire burned the castle for 3 days, leaving much of the structures in ruins. Since the early 1990s, however, the Bannerman Castle Trust has worked for the preservation of the island so that the public may appreciate it for its cultural and historical value.